The chair recognizes Ms. Thierry to speak on the bill.
Members, it is out of respect, caring, and friendship for every member of this body that I would like to share my position on this very complex issue. I'm coming from a place of love and compassion and can only hope and pray that it is received in that same spirit. While we can have debates on the best policy approach, I do not believe that any of us in this body actually wants to cause harm to children who are suffering from depression, dysphoria, or any other mental health issues. Over the past 2 years, I have extensively researched this issue and painstakingly reviewed the scientific data in this country and around the globe. I have listened to my constituents, to advocacy groups, and stakeholders both for and against gender modification. As a woman of color, I know what it's like to feel unseen, unheard, and devalued. I have recently been treated that way by some in this process in coming to this vote. That is not what children experiencing gender dysphoria should have to go through. And I believe this debate should never and was never about erasing transgender children. For me, this discussion is about how best to protect and care for these children as they navigate through the challenging journey of finding the best version of themselves. After listening to the debate today, I absolutely believe we should raise the age to 18 for children to receive GnRH analogs, cross-sex hormones, and to undergo potential irreversible body-altering surgeries. I am assured that this position is rooted in sound policy, which supports the mental health, physical development, and overall well-being of minors. Members, in this nation, most all adults have been united in at least one basic premise: that children deserve protections, special protections, and exceptional treatment under the law. As a legislative body in this state, both Democrats and Republicans alike have routinely enacted legislation which shields children from acts which place them at an increased risk of harm. This principle is established in many areas of public health policy, such as restricting the age to 18 for tattoo services in this state, restricting the age to 18 to get a tan at a tanning salon, raising the age to 21 to purchase tobacco, cigarettes, and e-cigarettes. These policies and regulations are in place because we recognize that children should be protected from actions and activities which have harmful health risk or lifelong consequences. This same logic must also apply when approaching the very complex issue of treating gender and body dysphoria in children. As we heard here today, right now in the United States, there is not one universal policy or standard of care on the appropriate age that cross-sex hormones should be administered in children experiencing gender dysphoria. In fact, there is significant divergence amongst both the medical and scientific community. One of the key aspects of this debate is the use of drugs which delay a female child from menstruating, or a biological male child from physically maturing into his adolescence. Puberty is a natural biological process, as it serves a critical role in both the physical and mental development in all human beings. Concerns have been raised that hormonal suppression of puberty may permanently alter a child's neurodevelopment. It is only honest to admit and accept that we do not know of the long-term effects that prescribing GnRH analogs, cross-sex hormones, as young as 8, 9, and 10 years old, of what that will do to children. Solely for the purpose of affirming gender dysphoria. What we do know is that these drugs can cause harm to a child's health, including the early onset of osteoporosis, incontinence, increased risk of blood clotting, stroke, and heart attack, infertility, and sterility. Moreover, as we all agree, the decision to undergo body-altering surgery to remove healthy breast tissue in biological females or to remove male genitalia in biological males cannot be reversed. While these surgeries should happen after the age of 18, there is no such law codifying that in Texas without the passage of SB 14. Science has already proven that the frontal lobe section of children's brains are not fully developed under the age of 18. As Democrats, we've espoused this principle many times on the raise the age to 18 for criminal culpability. The data on teenage brain development has shown that because the prefrontal cortex, the frontal lobe, is responsible for decision-making, planning, and thinking about the consequences of actions, teenagers rely more on another part of the brain, the portion of the brain that unduly influences their emotions, impulses, aggression, and instinctive behavior. Certainly, children as young as 8, 9, or 10 are completely incapable of understanding that these medical treatments may require that they remain patients for the rest of their lives. For example, what are the long-term effects of administering the chemotherapy prostate cancer drug and chemical castration drug known as Lupron to a child who is otherwise physically healthy but is experiencing gender dysphoria? Just last year, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration added a warning to the drugs known as puberty blockers. It indicated that there is a plausible association between puberty blockers and pseudotumor cerebri. This condition occurs when the pressure inside the skull spontaneously increases. This can cause brain swelling, severe headaches, nausea, double vision, and even permanent vision loss, according to the Mayo Clinic. Earlier this year, the American College of Cardiology released a study finding that people with gender dysphoria and taking hormone replacements as part of their affirmation therapy face a substantially increased risk of serious cardiac events, including stroke, heart attack, and pulmonary embolism. There's also literature that suggests that long-term use of estrogen and testosterone in children may cause polycystic ovarian syndrome. Despite talking points to the contrary, the data is inconsistent that the rates of suicide and depression will be improved by administering these hormones. Lastly, several European countries, which were on the forefront of administering this treatment, have reversed course. They are taking a more cautious approach now to the use of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones in minors. Finland now recommends psychotherapy as the first-line treatment for gender dysphoric youth. The Swedish Health Authority no longer offers puberty blockers to minors except in exceptional cases, stating, "The risk of puberty-suppressing treatment with GnRH analogs and gender-affirming hormonal treatment currently outweighs the possible benefits." Certainly, the topic of gender and body dysphoria in children requires careful consideration, caution, and compassion. Sadly, the discussion has become polarized and politicized. In fact, while many of my constituents encouraged me to vote in favor of this legislation, hostile activists on social media platforms have made horrific, nasty political threats to influence my vote against the bill. These personal and often racist attacks on me as an African American woman are neither productive nor persuasive. Privately, some have shared in confidence that they agree with the bill, but they are too afraid of the retribution. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So it remains my legislative duty and my moral obligation to vote the conscience and core values of my constituency. I will do this today with an open heart and a clear mind. As a thoughtful legislator, mother, woman of faith, and child advocate, I am making a decision to place the safety and well-being of all young people over the comfort of political expediency. It is my core belief and conclusion that we should remain consistent in the premise that children must be given special provisions under the law, as they cannot fully appreciate the long-term consequences of their actions. As such, the best practice should be to raise the age to 18 for gender modification. Moving forward with this prudent policy, we should also ensure that vulnerable children and teenagers have quality access to mental health care that is safe and in a supportive environment. Only by taking a careful, compassionate, and evidence-based approach to this issue can we guarantee that we are doing what is truly in the best interest of our children. Thank you.